Good morning, everybody. I am Lieutenant Dr. J. Chinna, Assistant Professor of Commerce, AB Government Degree College, Janga. Today, the topic is Scientific Management Theory. As you told in last class, it is a continuation class. Today, we have to discuss about who is the father of scientific management, what is the history of scientific management, and what are the principles comes under the scientific management we have to learn today. The father of scientific management is Frederick Winslow Taylor. He was born in 1856 and to 1915. The introduction of scientific management theory. The concept of scientific management was introduced by Frederick Winslow Taylor in the USA in the beginning of 20th century. This concept was further refined by Frank and Lillian Gibrian, Henry Gantt, George Beth, Edward Fallon and others. So, the father of scientific management is the Frederick Winslow Taylor. He was born in USA. He started the scientific management in 20th century. So his concept carry forward so many others here. In next paragraph, Taylor joined Midwell Steel Company in USA as a worker, and later he became a supervisor. During this period, he continued his studies and eventually completed his Master of Engineering. Subsequently, he joined Bethlehem Steel Company. At both these places, Taylor undertook several experiments in order to improve the efficiency of people at work. On the basis of his experiments, he published a book entitled as Scientific Management. So this is the story of the Frederick Winslow Taylor. He was joined in USA, that is a company, Midwell Steel Company. He was joined in USA as a worker. Then he was become as a supervisor. Some days after, he was completed his Master of Engineering also, and again he joined in Bethlehem Steel Company. In Bethlehem Steel Company and Midwell Steel Company, he took so many experiments how to improve the work of people and they have to do the efficiency work. He do many experiments. With that experiments, he was published a book that is entitled with Scientific Management. In next slide, the definition of scientific management. Again, the father of scientific management, Frederick Winslow Taylor, he told, scientific management is the art of knowing exactly what you want your men to do, and then seeing that they do it in the best and cheapest way. According to F.W. Taylor, he told what they have to do, that work, exactly work, and you have to supervise to it in a best cheapest way, he told. This definition is definitely scientifically, so that nowadays each and every companies and secretaries, CS secretaries, company secretaries, managers they are following this definition. Next, principle of scientific management. He given 7 principles in scientific management. One is science, not the rule of thumb. Second is harmony, not discord. Third one, cooperation, not individualism. Fourth one, maximum output instead of restricted output. Fifth one, development of workers. Sixth one, equal division of responsibility. And seventh one, mental revolution. These are the principles, 7 principles of scientific management, was invented by the F.W. Taylor. Now, one by one we have to discuss the principles of scientific management. The first principle of scientific management is the basic principle of scientific management is an adaptation of scientific approach to managerial process and decision making. It completely discards all unscientific approaches. So, everything is, each and every supervisor or manager should be think as science, not a rule of thumb. So, this approach adapted so many companies and managers as well as supervisors in the companies. It is a very scientific principle, he told. And second principle of scientific management is harmony, not discord. Harmony refers to the unity of actions, while discord refers to differences in approach. What is the difference between harmony and discord? Harmony is unity of actions, whereas discord refers differences in approach. So, when you take some actions, immediately actions, then only you can success in the management. When differences will come, automatically the work will be discorded. So there is a differences between harmony and discord. So that the Frederick Taylor taken the harmony, action of work he taken, so that it is one type of principle. And third principle of scientific management is cooperation, not individualism. Cooperation refers to the development of mutual understanding between employees and management in order to differentiate their efforts towards the attainment of group objectives while regarding their individual objectives as subordinate to the general interest. So what is difference between cooperation and not individualism? Cooperation is, there is a link between the employees. They have to do the cooperation in each other. Otherwise, the work, we can't reach to our objectives. So that the Taylor think in depth also. Why? Because there is, when there is cooperation between among the employees, then only the management will be success. Whereas individualism take part, the management will be collapse. That is the principle. Next, fourth principle of the scientific management is maximum output instead of restriction output. In Taylor's view, the most dangerous evil of the industrial system as a deliberate restriction of output in order to maximize returns. He emphasized maximization of output as a means of promoting prosperity of workers, management and society. So in each and every company they have to take out the maximum output, otherwise there is no to reach the our objectives. Next, development of workers. Management must develop its workforce to the fullest extent of their capabilities to ensure maximum prosperity for both employees and employers. There is no doubt that development human resource promotes maximum human efficiency, productivity, and profits. Here, there should be a development among the workers. Each and every worker they have to take a part of training, and they have to maintain the skills, and they have to get the knowledge. Each and every worker they have to update themselves. Then only the work and the work definitely comes fruitful. So here development of workers is very important. It is very important principle according to F.W. Taylor. Next principle of scientific management is equal division of responsibility. This principle recommends separation of planning from execution. Taylor strongly opposed the practice of planning of work by the subordinate themselves. According to him, management should be concerned with planning of work and workers with its execution. So what is work here? Work should be equal. They have to practice equally. Before start each and every work, they have to go to plan. Without plan, they won't start the work. And they have to take, first of all, they have to take the plan, then only they have to execute the work. So that equal division of responsibility among the workers. With this effect, the management will be improved. The manager will be do the efficiently. Each and every worker should be do the with effectively to reach their goal. So it is one type of principle of scientific management. And final principle of scientific management is mental revolution. What is mental revolution here? According to Taylor, no scheme of scientific management could be successful unless the workers and managers learn to cooperate with each other. This requires a mental revolution on their part by giving up the attitude of hostility and enmity towards each other. Okay, what he said? Mental revolution should be come among the workers. Then only they have to cooperate each them. Without mental revolution, we can't reach our goal. We can't reach our objective. We can't gain the profit properly. So, in management, among the workers, they have to maintain the mental revolution. Then only they will reach their goal. So, these are the main principle of scientific management. In next slide, the Taylor has given a structure, that is Taylor's scientific management structure. Basically, broadly, the structure of Taylor's scientific management are divided into two parts. Number one is a determination of fair day's task, and second is scientific selection and training. These are the main structure of Taylor's scientific management. One by one we have to study and explain here. What is the determination of fair day task? Taylor recommended the use of scientific methods based on three types of work studies for determining fair day's task for each worker. Again, fair day's task divided into three parts. Number one is time study, number two is motion study, and number third is fatigue study. According to Taylor, what is the time study here? The time study is the process of observing and recording the time required to perform and each element of an operation so as to determine the standard time in which work has to be completed. So, according to Taylor, he was given a time, he was given a speculation time, a specific time to the workers. Within that period, what he is going to do? He is working, complete his work within the time or not? If not do that work within the time, what is the lack of behind? What is the problem he is facing? Okay, with this method he used within the time he is working or not, that is the main task given to the workers. If he have to work within the time, then only he will success in the work efficient. He will do the work efficiently and skillfully. So that the determination of a fair day's task is time study, first one. Second one, he was studied motion study. What is the motion study here? Motion study is a careful study and analysis of various body movements while doing a work. First of all, you have to give a work and task. For the task, you have to give a time. Within the speculation time or certain time, there is no movement of the worker. Where there is no movement of the worker, why he was given that motion study? Sometimes the workers, they have to do their works with movements. With that effect, the time will be killed. So that in motion study, he given. It aims of removing unwanted and unnecessary body movements while doing the work. That's why he given the motion study. With this effect, with this effect, the time will be safe. So that it is one type of structure. Then third one, determination of a fair day's task is fatigue study. Fatigue study is conducted to find out as to after how much time of work a rest pass is required for an average worker so that he can relax the proceed to his job in the refreshed manner. Okay, it is past time. While doing hours together, where there is no refresh time or relaxed time, he will be tired. So that in each and every work, there is a pass of work, stop of work. With that effect, he will be refreshed or relaxed. A worker will be relaxed, worker will be refresh himself. Then only he will do the next work with mental effectively. It is also one type of task given by the Taylor in scientific management. And second part of the structure of Taylor's scientific management is scientific selection and training. Under that part, again divided, what he was divided, what is the scientific selection and training here? Taylor has emphasized that the workers should be selected on scientific basis, taking into account their education, work experience, attitude, and physical strength. These are the main things. When we are going to select to the workers, these items have to follow. What is the education to them? What are the experience they have? What are the attitude towards work? What are their physical strength? Whether they are weak persons or strengthened persons? What are their health conditions? They have to check out. Then only you can select a scientific man. Then the workers should be trained by the companies with effectively. Then only they have to work with knowledge and skillful one. So this is the second structure of the Taylor scientific management. And third main part of the structure of Taylor scientific management is standardization. The Taylors tested two types of standardizations. Number one is standardization of raw materials, tools, machines, and work conditions like lighting, space, ventilation, etc., so as to allow workers to proceed to work in healthy physical environment. This is the first standardization. And second standardization according to Taylor is standardization of work conditions for the workers performing similar types of work, different work conditions for the same job would adversely affect efficiency and ultimate production. This is the second type of standardization of Taylor scientific management structure. And fourth one, structure of Taylor scientific management is functional foremanship. Taylor involved the concept of functional foremanship based on the specialization of functions. He identified 8 types of foremen to direct the activities of workers. Of these, the following 4 foremen are concerned with planning. What are those? Number 1 is routine work. Routine work specifying a route for production. And second, instruction called clerk, drafting instructions for the workers. And second plan is time and cost clerk, preparing time and cost sheet. And fourth one is a disciplinarian, that is ensuring discipline. And the remaining 4 foremen are concerned with the execution of work. Among them, the number 1 is speed boss, that is ensure timely and accurate completion of work. Second is inspector, checking the quality of the work. Third is gang boss, keeping machines and tools ready. And fourth one is maintenance foreman. He ensures proper working of machines. These are the main functional foremanship. Those are the 8 functional foremanship. Okay. Next, Last one, structure of Taylor scientific management is differential piece rate system of wage payment. Here, the Taylor devised a differential piece rate system of wage payment in order to motivate workers positively as also negatively to provide the standard output. The interest features of this scheme are: a standard output for each worker is determined in advance through scientific work studies. Second one, two rates of wage payment based on piece rate system are established. Number one is high rate per unit of output, and second is low rate per unit of output. These are the what are the differentiation piece rate system he was emphasized in this part. These are the structure of Taylor scientific management. The scientific management was criticized by so many scientists. What are those? Here, basically criticized by the workers. What are the points criticized by the employers and psychologists? How they have to criticize? Under first point, criticized by the workers. Number one is reduces the workers to a machine. The scientific management calls for the standardization of the work methods, and workers have to work accordingly, so that the workers reduces the work as to a machine. And second one, creation of unemployment. A critic of scientific management also argue that scientific management creates unemployment as its favor widespread use of laboring saving devices. And third criticism towards the workers is exploitation of workers. The gains of increased productivity are not shared with the workers. They get little share in profits. The major production is taken away by the investors in the form of higher profits. That's why all profits have to be taken by organizations, but not giving their shares to the workers, so that the workers work exploited by organizations. And the fourth point is loss of initiation. The initiation of workers is adversely affected due to separation of thinking from doing. And scientific management calls standardization of methods and operations. The worker had to act as accordance with the instructions of the foreman. So it is one type of criticism from the workers. And next, increased stress. Scientific management has been criticized for increasing workers' stress due to higher expected output from them. It is one type of, they have to expect more from the workers. Then the workers will be stressed themselves. And next one, weaker trade unions. Scientific management supports decisions on important matters pertaining to workers, like regulation of working hours, fixation of wages, etc. Here the unions are very weak, so that they can't reach to the effective wages. And last one is undemocratic in nature. It is also argued that the attitude of the functional bosses is autocratic in nature. The workers operate strictly under the control. This creates lot of resentment among them, so that the nature is undemocratic. The workers not support this one. These are the criticisms of the scientific management by the workers. And second one, criticisms by the employers. According to employers, they have given under 6 points criticisms. Number one is problem of unity of command. Taylor's scientific management processes 8 functional foremen. Hence, the workers have to report to 8 different bosses. It is very difficult. Here, a problem to do the work, they have to different supervisors, they have to give different works. So the worker or employee can't do in time. Why? Because there is a differentiation works among the supervisors. And second one is expensive. The installation of scientific management involves hug funds on standardization of materials, equipments, tools and machinery, etc. So that if you take this one, these are the very expensive that, okay. And third one, loss on account of reorganization. Introduction of scientific management calls for reorganization of complete process. The work has to be suspended due to reorganizations. It is both the consuming and expensive, so that it is also one type of criticism towards employees. And next criticism by the employees are overproduction. The techniques of the scientific management followed by all firms in an industry may lead to overproduction or glut in the market. So when overproduction goes by the workers or by the employees, it will be stressed. They will be stressed. They won't do the work with the stress manner. So it is also one type of criticism by the employers. Narrow approach, next one. Taylor's scientific management has narrow application, not broad application. That's why we called it narrow approach. It can be applied in factories where the performance of workers can be measured quantitatively, not mentally, so that it is also one type of criticism by the employees. And next, other difficulties are scientific management calls for employment of high qualified and skilled experts, which may not be easily available. And second one, on account of paucity of financial resources, small concerns cannot afford to introduce the system of scientific management. These are the main criticisms by the employers. When we discuss criticisms by the psychologists are different. They have criticized 5 parts. Number one is mechanical in nature. The main criticism advanced against scientific management by the psychologists is that it is mechanical in nature. the worker has practically no say in the management. He have to do the work, and he is to operate strictly in accordance with the instructions issued by him by his foreman, so that it is very critical to do work. So it is workers have to do their work as mechanical. There is no human beings in nature, so that it is one type of criticism by the philosophers, psychologists. Next, speeding of workers. Scientific management is responsible for speeding up or intensification of workers, resulting in lot of strain and tiredness on the worker's mind. So they have to work speed. They have to give a time bound. Within time bound they have to work. Otherwise they won't pay the wages. So that with the time they have to do the speed with speed works, they became a tired man. With effect the tide, they won't do effectively and accurate works. So that the speeding of workers lack of the mental, they will become a mentally, they won't work with healthy mental. They have to do unmental things. So that this is the one type of criticism by the psychologists. Next one, creation of monotony. Over specialization and repetition of the job under scientific management makes them monotonous. Monotonism is a repeat work. It is the bore of work. Next, absence of non-wage incentives. Another drawback of the scientific management is the absence of non-monetary incentives. In the opinion of psychologists, various non-monetary incentives such as job security, appreciation, workers' participation in management, social recognition, and urge for self-expression play an important role in inspiring workers for better performance. Okay, these are the next one, developing one best way of work. Scientific management is primarily concerned with developing one best way of doing the work. But psychologists are of the view that every workers have his own style of doing the work. If one particular way is imposed in the workers, they will not be able to perform properly, and their efficiency is bound to be effective adversely. So these are the criticisms by scientific management. So many workers, employees, and psychologists have given the criticisms on scientific management. Thank you one and all. Today we have learned about the principle of scientific management, that is father of scientific management, Frederick Winslow Taylor. What is the history of Taylor and what is the history of scientific management, we have to learn. And what is the principles of the scientific management, you have to learn today in today class. And what are the criticisms faced by workers, employees, and psychologists, we have learned today. Thank you very much.